Okay, so we're in 2.9. 2.9 won't need any sort of board notes. This will largely resemble something that we did in 2.7. So just to warm our way up, go to page 85. Page 85, in the middle of the page, there's some problems that just reflect back to what we did 2 lessons ago in 2.7, where we were writing expressions. We'll warm up with that and then add on one little tidbit. So for number 1, anybody in the middle of that blue box where it says translate and then it starts off the sum of, for number 1, can somebody hit up an expression out of that? We're on page 85, right in the middle of a blue box, there's a number 1.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, what do you say?
Never
Change
mind.
your mind? Change your heart? Go ahead.
The sum of a number x. So x plus x times x times 2?
Yeah, that works. So to that number 1, we could go x plus, and then do an x times 2, or a 2x, or however you'd like to write that. Because again, as always, sum means to add. Twice means to multiply by 2. So something like x plus 2x would work. To somebody else, can you write something for 2? Yep.
Maybe, J over, like, X.
It's close, I'm with you. It's j on top of a fraction.
And then times 5. X.
Well, let's just stick with the letter we have. We're not going to intermingle j's with x's. What did you have going on the bottom?
So it'd be like J over, like, whatever the number is, times 5J.
You're warm. You have one thing in there that is like too much.
Is it J over the number in 5?
Yeah, and what are we calling the number?
J.
J. So on top there's a j. On the bottom there's
J times 5?
j times 5, or 5j. So 2, we go j on top, 5j on the bottom. If you have j times 5 on the bottom, that's fine. The order is flexible. 3, somebody. You'd have to create a number that's not in the story by knowing what half dollars are about. Anybody comfort level for 3? We're talking about cents and half dollars, so what number do we have to bust out?
50.
50. There's a 50 in here, so something with a 50 for number 3.
Do we multiply because there are outs?
Yeah.
So it would be c times, or x times x plus 50?
No, too much.
X times 50?
Yeah, just go 50 times and pick a letter. Yeah, if you had like 10 half dollars, you'd go 50 times 10, 20 half dollars, 50 times 20, so something like 50x. 4 is probably the most similar to what we were doing. Some of those were kind of like trickier than what we did last time, but the age 9 years ago,
X minus 9.
yeah, any letter you want minus 9. So my book chose to do Z for Zachary because that was the name, but yeah, letter minus 9 is a win on that. So if we flip the page, what we're doing today is we're going to upgrade ourselves from writing expressions to writing equations. So what's an equation have that an expression doesn't? What makes an equation be an equation? An equal sign. Can anybody spot, if you skim through a quick page 87 skim, where does the equal sign come in? Or does anybody remember from doing this before, what brings the equal sign into play? Is. Wherever the is, that's where the equal sign in the equation is going to go. And they didn't do this to you here, but if they do any kind of verb like is, like was, or will be, if they go past, present, future versions of is, that's where the equal sign goes. So 87, let's do class exercises. So class exercise 1. Can somebody do what we were doing, but we're going to insert an equals and have some stuff on each side of the equals when we're done writing? Yeah.
2 times x equals 14.
Yep, 2 times x equals 14 does the trick for 1. 2? Yep.
X minus 12 equals 7.
Yep, x minus 12 equals 7 is a win. 3, anybody? Yeah.
1/2 times x is 34.
Yeah, 1/2 times x equals 34 is a win. 4?
Would be x over 6 equals 2/3.
Yep, x over 6 equals 2/3 is good. We're on 87. Basically, it's a repeat of what we did 2 days ago. But where there's an is, you put an equals, and then there's like one number more. There's going to be stuff on each side. So like we just did 4 was n dividing 6 equals 2/3. 5's the trickiest one because less than is always a tricky phrase. What does the less than phrase do? It does a little flip. So don't start off with 6 blah blah blah. You want to say blah 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 and then get around to the 6. Yeah.
2x minus 6 equals 5.
That's correct. 2x minus 6 equals 5 is a win. Then the last one of these, anybody up for it? Good, Sam.
5 times x squared
Yep.
equals 45.
That's it. 5 times x squared equals 45. That's the name of the game. Let's do one homework problem for free. The ones we just did on 1 to 6 look like they pretty well prepare you for what you're going to do on the 1 to 12. 13 looks a little different, and we're going as high as 20. So let me do 13 just to make sure we get a feel for this. 13, they build up the problem in bits and pieces. So 13, they start off with B for Bonnie, and they go 6 years ago. So what do you think about her 6 years ago?
B minus 6.
B minus 6. That's like something we did before. Then they go Clyde is younger, so they go Clyde's age. What do you think for that one?
Wait, how 1 year younger?
1 year younger.
B minus 7.
No, he's just 1 year younger than her.
B minus 1.
That's just going to go a B minus 1. You're one step ahead of the game.
Oh, I combined the two
Yep.
problems. That's
Now
what I
for
did.
C, we're going Clyde, who's already the year younger, and then we take him back in history 6 years ago. So if we go C, the younger guy, and 6 years back in time, what would C be about?
B minus 7.
B minus 7. Those are like ones we did before. Those are back. Something about the ABC. Okay, then here's D. D, when they say 6 years ago, they are both 6 years ago. It's Bonnie 6 years ago, which was the B minus 6. There's Clyde 6 years ago, which is the B minus 7. We're going to use both of those things because they're taking both of these people back in history. So we go 6 years ago, so we're thinking about A and C's answers. The sum was 35. So they're trying to write an equation to represent Bonnie 6 years ago and Clyde 6 years ago, total up to 35. Can somebody hit that up?
Would it be like B plus B equals 35?
No, they can't both be B. They both involve B's, but neither of them is actually B. B is what Bonnie is today. So we need a B kind of thing for Bonnie in history. We need a different B kind of thing for Clyde in history. If you just said B plus B, you're making it seem like they're both the same age, and they're different things. Give it a shot.
I put B plus 6 plus C would equal 35.
We can do them both using B things. That's not bad, but if we, right now in the Algebra 1 level, if we do a B for this and a C for that, we don't have like the math skills to solve something if it had 2 letters in it. So we want to try to keep to just the letter B if we can.
So B, 6B like plus 7B equals 35?
That's the closest we've been. So yes, we're going to do some group of B's that has a 6 in it. Plus, the word sum means for sure plus was coming. Then there's some other kind of B thing that's going to need to have a 7 in it. And then it does equal 35. So something B's plus something B's to equal 35. We're getting warmer. Yeah.
B minus 6 plus B minus 7 equals 35.
There's the money answers. So the main key to do D is remembering what we just did above. So what did we do for Bonnie and A when we went 6 years ago?
Subtract
Yeah, what did we say was the full thing for Bonnie then?
B minus 6.
B minus 6. So when we go to do D, we need the B minus 6 to come with us. Then B didn't really matter. C mattered. C, what did we settle on for Clyde, the younger brother, back in history?
7.
Yes, what with 7?
B minus 7.
B minus 7 is what we settled on for C. So when we make the jump into like question D, we need the B minus 7 to come with us. So B minus 6 for Bonnie's old age, adding the B minus 7 for Clyde's old age, that's what would equal the 35. Let's do one more of those because I'm not convinced we're there because that was a struggle. Let's go skip 14. Let me do 15 with you. 14's a lot like 13. 15's maybe different. So let's build our way up to 15. 15, you can tell this book's a little bit old because they're buying a VCR. So if you want to buy a VCR now, you're probably at Goodwill or on eBay or something because that's not an easy purchase. But they say we're going to pay $45 payments monthly to get a VCR. So they want to know what would be the total amount of those payments. You're going to pay 45, 45, 45, 45 every month. You go somewhere, you give them 45 bucks, and eventually they're going to give you an appliance.
Would it be n times 45?
Yeah. 45 times a letter of your choosing, or no, they chose the n for us. So yeah, 45 times n is what you would pay on the monthly. Then they decided, hey, wait a minute. What the store wants is for you to give them $35 at the beginning, and then show up with your 45s. And stores don't really do this anymore. They used to do a thing at stores called layaway, where you'd be like, hey, your parents could tell you these stories. Your parents as kids would probably be like, hey, I want this $500 thing for Christmas, and your parents didn't have $500 to like buy that thing right then. So they'd give the store like $100 to hold it, put it on layaway, which meant it had their name on it. It was somewhere in the back of the store. And every week your parents would show up with another 50 bucks or 75 bucks, or your grandparents actually would be doing that. And once they had it paid off, they'd get their thing. But this one they're saying, hey, give us $35, we'll stick the VCR aside for you, and then you're going to pay 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, lots of 45s. So what could you do for B now if we're still paying all those 45s, but there's like a one-time 35 payment? What's that look like?
So it would be like n times, wait, what was the, is that what I answered first? N times 45
Yeah.
would be minus 35?
Not quite. We're close though. So we're paying $35 for them to set it aside, and then we keep showing up with $45 all the time until we get this thing paid off, and then they'll give it to us. We're trying to do the total cost.
Minus 20?
Colder. Got a
Is it
shot?
n times 45 plus 35?
Yeah, because the total cost is the 35 that started the process plus a whole lot of 45s. So it would be 45x or 45n plus 35. Now finally we have enough information to write the equation. They're saying, all right, same game, nothing really changed except the total cost of this thing is $485. And that question must have been written when they first came out with VCRs, because I have never in my life seen a $485 VCR. That must have been like the first one off the assembly line, because that's a pricey bit of equipment there. Grand total to have an equal sign in this now. Anybody shoot on that?
Is it n times 45 plus 35 equals 485?
That's the win answer, yep. 45n plus 35 equals 485. Does anybody in their home still own a VCR? In
Might,
the-
I
two?
think we might.
We
Wait.
have one.
Is the VCR
I have one. It's like a big boxy looking
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, is that the, you put it, I used to have
It's
one.
like a big cassette, like over there.
Yeah.
That has a DVD and a like VCR built into
Yeah.
one on that piece of equipment. Some people still have that?
Me and my dad has like a bunch of old like video game consoles
Yeah,
and
same
old like
with mine.
DVD
Old
players
stuff.
and they're up somewhere in our
All right.
basement.
It's like an entertainment / museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that. I have like I still have a video game system from like the 1980s.
Atari.
It's the Atari. I
Yeah.
have an original Atari 2600. It's still playable.
That's so cool. That is cool.
It's in my basement.
Yeah,
It
but
still works.
scratchy little GameCube.
I don't think we've used it for like 5 years, but when the kids were younger, we used to occasionally get that going, the 1980s video game system. Anyway, we're well off topic, but homework, we're on 87 is where we live. We're working 1 to 20. The first 12 are like the 1 to 6 we practiced with first. 13 I gave you for free, 14's like it. 15 we did for free, 16's like it. And then 17 to 20 is just pretty open-ended. Like you're using words to write sentences. There's 10 of you. You could have 10 different answers for those. Like you're trying to do things like less and more and increase and sum and quotient and product. Like use those words to describe what's going on. How do you produce the equal sign? Is. So what's in common to everybody's answer, they're going to have is in them. And we did see one small switch up on 13. They used the word was, but was like is. That's where the equal sign. But when we did 13D, the was is the is. That was where the equals drop. That's all I got. Upcoming events. So this homework's due tomorrow, 87. We'll look to fine tune this. Tomorrow I'll probably give you 2 worksheets. Tomorrow's Friday, so the smaller worksheet would be due Monday to review this week's worth of information, and we take a quiz Tuesday. The bigger worksheet would be on Wednesday to review the whole chapter, including the quiz that you got back that we're looking to make corrections on. And then that test would be Thursday, and you would head off into that long Columbus Day weekend we have with no homework to do, because test on Thursday, and then we're off that Friday, Monday combo. Nice long Columbus. We love Columbus so much. We take a few days kind of weekend.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, he's the rest.
Sure.
Chris.
You shut that on down.